Hey there and welcome back to Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and this is the series where we try to complete The Sims 3. We picked this episode back up where we left in the last one. If you remember, I had to make a cut pretty much midway through because I locked myself out that day and then had to make a choice between either getting the episode up on Sunday or getting it done completely. And so I thought, well, let's stick to the schedule and get the rest up next time. So in this episode, we'll wrap up another weekend in Sunset Valley, and we jump from Paul, who's searching the garbage cans of his neighbors for story material, over to Chastity, who tries to learn the guitar skill. The first few levels of that skill are actually pretty easily gained, and then once we're at level 5, we can have her play for tips, and that will not only improve her skill further, but also give us a nice boost to our income. And here we are, accompanied by 500 lifetime happiness points for fulfilling the wish. Chastity has now learned the guitar skill. We will need a few more levels in that to give her a successful start in the music career. However, for the moment, let's have her take care of some more basic needs. Afterwards, she can grab a bite to eat while we can see Patrick in the background, who is still reading a cookbook. His first day of work will be tomorrow, and the shifts in the cooking career are not the longest, and since I don't want him to get stuck in the later levels due to insufficient cooking skills, I think it's a good idea to get the skill maxed out as fast as possible. Now that Chastity has finished her meal, we can go back to the guitar skill with her, and we also get the info that Paul has finished digging through his neighbor's trash, so he can now return home and take what I consider a very well-deserved shower. Once he's clean, let's take care of his hunger need next. A nice bowl of stew surprise will do the trick, while Chastity improves to level 2 of the guitar skill. Like I said earlier, the first few levels of that skill go ridiculously fast, and then playing for tips also gives a nice cash boost, so all in all I actually think that guitar is probably next to painting and gardening one of the most powerful skills in the game. Alright, Paul has finished lunch, and if you're wondering what Ahisha is doing all the time, well, have a guess. Of course she's collecting. Paul will now clean up, that will also remove the disgusted moodlet from the dirty dishes. And then we get an interesting proposal for an opportunity. This one not only rewards us with simoleons, but also with an increase in the charisma skill, and that is a skill that Paul very much needs. So let's accept that and then have him go over to the laptop, where he can now reap the benefits of his trash can adventures and begin the first story. Then, roughly 1.5 hours later, Chastity already makes it to level 3 of the guitar skill. We will keep her going for now. Of course, with not much else to do, I want her to reach level 5 as quickly as possible. And then another half hour later, Patrick finishes a very comfortable skill learning session by improving to level 8 of the cooking skill. And rapid progression is the theme here as Paul finishes his first story. It's a negative one, but who cares about that? A story is a story. And for that matter, we will have him begin on the second one right away. Then Patrick can put his newfound cooking skills to work and prepare himself something to eat. Also, if you remember back to the last episode, we get the information that today is Patrick's birthday. So in order to at least have some kind of proper celebration, let's buy him a birthday cake. And then for the first time in this episode, we catch a glimpse of Ahisha, who has just returned home and grabbed some stuff from the mailbox. While she sends away a few more gems and metals, we can sell some stuff. And then have her start to work from home. There is simply nothing better to do for her with all the gem spawners in town depleted. And on top of that, it also fulfills a wish, and since Ahisha is collecting lifetime happiness points without much use for them actually, I was thinking about getting a second teleportation pad, just because we can. We have a bit of work to do until then, I think 35,000 lifetime happiness points or something. So for the moment, let's not dwell on that and instead move over to Patrick. Because now we're going to age him up to young adult. Alright, welcome to adulthood, Patrick complete. We can now pick another trait for him, and that is pretty straightforward. After natural cook for the cooking skill and angler for the fishing skill, we will now focus on his third skill, which is gardening, and pick green thumb. This will actually allow us to revive plants, very useful for growing death flowers, but that is quite a bit down the line still. For now, let's actually have nobody grab a slice of cake and have them proceed with business as usual. Ahisha will work from home, Chastity will play guitar, Paul will continue his story, and Patrick will take care of his garden. A bit later, Paul finishes his second story, and that should be enough for today. And we can now get to work on the opportunity that we received earlier and send him over to the science facility to assist in an experiment and gain some money and also some charisma. Just a few meters behind him, our birthday boy Patrick will also leave the lot. Since he is a young adult now, we can get him employed, and we're doing that now. Before we get to that, however, we can quickly see Paul enter the science facility. This should now take him a good while, so we can jump back over to Patrick, who's over at the restaurant. On the top right, we can also see that Chastity has improved to level 4 of the guitar skill, but our main focus is on Patrick for the moment, and of course we will get him employed in the culinary career. Now, one of the reasons we did that right away was that Patrick actually has to work on the weekends, and so tomorrow we can get his first day of work in. Patrick will now return home, where after reaching level 4 of the guitar skill, we can send Chastity to take a shower. Then quickly back over to Patrick, and we have 20,000 lifetime happiness points to spend, so let's grab Multitasker for 10,000. That should make his path through the cooking career a lot easier. I think we will also grab Office Hero pretty soon, but for the moment this one is enough. Now Patrick arrives back home. We sooner or later also have to take care of that outfit, I think. For the rest of the evening, however, he will spend his time reading recipe books. Yeah, I know I said earlier we will prioritize getting the cooking skill up, but I simply don't want things to get too repetitive. Now, while Patrick is reading, a freshly showered Chastity leaves the lot, and one thing that I maybe didn't mention earlier, when she moved in with us in the last episode, she actually brought her own car. So now we have another one next to Ahisha's police cruiser, and we will use that one to drive Chastity to the theater. Since she is a young adult as well, that was necessary to get her to move in, she is also ready to get a job, and that job will be in the music career. And her first workday will be on Monday. Just a few seconds later, Paul finishes the opportunity at the science facility. We get 1000 simoleons and also a nice but not too huge boost in the charisma skill. In the meantime, Chastity has made it back home, where she will use the toilet, and a few seconds later Paul also arrives, and with him we can go and grab another book, then join Patrick at the dinner table and improve the charisma skill even further. Then Chastity passes by to grab something to eat, and at the same time Patrick finishes the recipe for cheese tofu steak. While Chastity sits down with a slice of cake, he can go over to the bookshelf and grab another recipe book and start reading again. For Ahisha, it is time to call it a day now. The working from home has lowered her fun bar quite a bit, and she's also getting a bit tired, so let's grab ourselves a little under 3000 simoleons and send her off to bed. Chastity can do some cleanup, and now that she's done, we can also tell Paul to stop reading, and then have them both enter the bedroom. I think you know where this is going next. Alright, with fun bars filled to the maximum, both Paul and Chastity can now go to sleep. Then Patrick learns how to make cheesesteak. And he can now also go to bed, and we can skip ahead to the next morning. And that morning starts with Ahisha. After working from home for a few hours yesterday, her fun bar is a bit depleted, so we will have her play a few rounds of computer games to improve her mood. Up next is Paul, who wakes up hungry and can therefore grab some pancakes out of the fridge for breakfast. Now that he is done, he can begin to paint again, but not just anything. Let's tell Ahisha to stop playing games, so Paul can try his hands on another portrait. The last few attempts we had at a portrait of Ahisha were actually pretty much horrible, so I hope this one turns out a bit better. Ahisha will now begin to work from home. Chastity is also awake again and plays guitar, and Patrick puts his cooking skill to good use and prepares breakfast for himself. A few moments later he is done eating, and he could take a shower now, but since he has to take care of his garden anyway, let's actually do that first, since it will rapidly decrease his hygiene bar, and send him to take a shower once he's done. Up next, we can tell Paul to stop painting again. It is not a priority to get this done now. Since we don't need Ahisha to finish the painting, I just grabbed the opportunity to get it started. We can probably let this rest for a while. The more pressing issue is actually Paul's charisma skill. In terms of his career requirements, he actually still lags behind a bit, and we're also soon getting to the point where he needs more friends to improve the skill. For the moment though, the skill book will suffice, so that's exactly what he's going to do next. Then Ahisha finishes 2 hours of working from home, and as you can see in her activity queue, collecting is up next. I actually thought a lot about switching her over to insects instead of gems, metals and space rocks, but then I thought, well, we only have 1 death flower to maybe make her live a little bit longer, and I honestly don't think we'll grab all insects in that time. Also, insects are a bit annoying because in contrast to gems, metals and rocks, you can't really queue them up one after the other. Instead, you'll have to go to where they would appear, wait for them to spawn, and then manually click on collect each and every time, and with 3 other members in the household to take care of, that might actually become a bit stressful. Ahisha's expedition gets interrupted by an opportunity for Paul. Write a book worth 100 simoleons for an improved relationship with Crystal MacDonald, and also, and this is much more important, for improved quality of all further books. We will of course take that. Paul is currently writing a mystery novel that will go way over 100 simoleons, so this opportunity should more or less fulfill itself. Back at home, Patrick has finished his tour around the garden. That has actually improved his gardening skill to level 4, and as a reward he can now take a shower and get himself cleaned up again. He also has the wish to find some seeds now. We may or may not do this. At least in terms of lifetime happiness points, it isn't that worthwhile of a wish. Then Patrick finishes the shower and we immediately see potential for something to change. And yes, of course, I mean the outfit. Aging Up has once again equipped him with a less than ideal outfit, I think. So let's make some changes to that. Yeah, I just noticed after recording that this is more or less the exact same outfit that Paul is wearing. When I equipped this, I was just thinking, yeah, green t-shirt is definitely what he needs. Please remind me to change that again. His formal outfit is then a black suit with a green shirt underneath. It was just important for me to keep the green as a symbol of his love for the outdoors.
Yipso!
I didn't change his sleepwear at all, so he still shows off his absolutely shredded body here. For the athletic outfit, I thought it would be good to pay a little bit of an homage to Pete, who was the star of the local sports team, and we're representing that with the jacket. For the swimwear, I went short. Patrick has nothing to hide, and he wants to show that. And then last but not least, here is his career outfit, at least for the moment, until he gets a promotion. With the new outfit, he will now grab the cooking skill book, sit down next to his brother, and once again begin to dive into the advanced secrets of the cooking skill. For Chastity, the hunger need becomes a priority, so let's have her stop playing guitar and have her grab a slice of cake from the fridge. Just a few moments later, we can tell Patrick to stop reading again. His carpool will arrive in just about 2.5 hours, and because we want him to work hard for the entire shift, he will need a healthy dose of fun beforehand. So let's have him play some computer games. With that, we should be able to max out his fun bar, and then I think he should be able to power through 6 hours of hard work. Chastity has finished a slice of cake and will now use the toilet. Then she can also clean the toilet. And then we'll do the same thing with her that we just did with Patrick and overhaul her outfit a bit. For her everyday outfit, I didn't make any changes. I think that actually suits an aspiring musician very well, so we'll leave that as it is.
Vatibusa?
Her formal outfit was a bit of a mess though, and it also didn't look formal at all, and I think this does the job much better.
Gazork!
Also, no changes to the sleepwear, that was fine with me. And I also only did some minor tweaks to the athletic outfit. She will more than likely never use it, so let's not waste too much time on it. For swimwear, the top with the flames on it was actually already there, and I said to myself, you know what, let's go with it, and I think it turned out decently enough.
Vatibusa?
And then, just like with Patrick, that's her career outfit, at least for the moment. Of course, once we reach the higher levels of the music career, that will change as well. Now that Chastity has nothing to do for the moment, we can work a bit on Patrick's social bar, stop the games for a moment, and have him go over to her and talk for a minute. Alright, that should be enough. Let's go back to the games, shall we? And with Chastity, we will pull out the guitar and return to the usual activity. While everyone's busy, we can sell a few things from Paul's inventory. Those are the ones that he found when rummaging through the neighborhood trash cans, and for the moment we don't really need them. Then the clock hits 2 PM and that means it's time for Patrick's very first workday. Of course, we will not take the carpool, but instead use the luxury of our very own teleportation pad, teleport him over to the restaurant, set him to work hard and hope everything goes well and he gets the promotion on day 1. Back at home, Ahisha returns from her round of collecting. Sunset Valley is once again depleted of gems, rocks and metals, so she can now grab the mail, send away a few things and then also analyze a few space rocks. While she does that, we can of course also sell a few things from her inventory. Apart from the things that are in the mail, those are mostly gems that are simply not worth it to be cut, because their value is simply too low for that. Then on the top right we get the info that Paul has finally increased his charisma skill to level 8, so with him we can now go back to writing. Paul still has a mystery novel that needs finishing, so he will get on that next. With Ahisha we can grab a bite to eat, and then Chastity reaches level 5 of the guitar skill. May I remind you that she lives in our household for a good day now, and that she has only practiced guitar for a small proportion of that. Anyway, we have now unlocked not only the wish, but also the possibility to play guitar for tips, and that is definitely what we're going to try next. We can use the teleportation pad, beam her over to the theater, because that is a good spot I believe. Lots of people pass by here, and even on a late Sunday afternoon the place should be pretty busy. So let's have her take out the guitar and play for tips and hope that somebody passes by and gives her a few spare coins. Just a few seconds later we can actually do more or less the same with Ahisha, at least up to the point where we teleport her in front of the theater. After she arrives, she will head straight inside, however. As we still have a bit of money to spare, I thought it would be a good idea to now become full owners of the theater. That will cost us 40,000 simoleons, but we will be able to reap the benefits of that almost immediately tomorrow, when it is once again time to collect investment money. Ahisha will drive back home now, and Chastity actually gets her first tip, and the second one right after that, and that fulfills her wish to make 25 simoleons by playing guitar. We will leave her out here playing for a while longer and then jump back over to Ahisha, who will once again start to work from home. Then, while we're watching Chastity, we get a sad information on the top right. It seems like the target for Paul's opportunity has passed away, so we can still write that book worth 100 simoleons in royalties. However, we won't be able to improve any relationships by doing so, and even more important, we also won't be able to boost the quality of all further books. Well, that's a bit unfortunate, but I think we can live with that. In the meantime, Chastity has amassed a bit of a crowd already, enough at least to fulfill the wish to earn 100 simoleons from tips. Back at home we can tell Paul to stop writing now, as he's getting pretty hungry. We don't quite manage to get to level 10 in the writing skill just yet, but I think just a few more hours of writing and we'll get there. Paul will now grab himself a bowl of stew surprise and we can jump over to the restaurant and to Patrick. I talked about this earlier and I think it's best to do it sooner rather than later. Let's grab the Office Hero lifetime reward for Patrick. With that equipped, we could set him to suck up to his boss and improve the relationship between the two, but I'm not quite sure that he has actually already maxed out the work performance meter, so let's stick to working hard at least for today. Back at home, Patrick finishes his meal, accompanied by a constant influx of cash that we get from Chastity playing for tips. Paul can now take a shower and we can jump ahead to the end of the workday for Patrick. And that should be a successful one, right? Yes, with a bonus of 300 simoleons, we get promoted to level 2 in the cooking career. Patrick is now a spice runner and can return home to celebrate that. Back at home, Ahisha has returned from her investment trip, and we can use the time before her and Paul go to bed to have a little chat between them. This not only fulfills a wish for Ahisha, but also brings her social bar up, and that was approaching critical levels. While Patrick returns home and will go right back to learning more about the cooking skill, both Paul and Ahisha will go to bed and we can jump back over to Chastity. She is already at the point where she wishes to earn 250 simoleons in tips, and to be honest, she's not too far away from that. As a matter of fact, here it is. That's another 250 simoleons in tips, and I think it's time to end the guitar session for today. We can see on the top right, Chastity has made 771 simoleons just by playing guitar. That's actually over 100 simoleons an hour, and that's only at level 5. Once we get to the higher levels, that number will increase dramatically, and that is one of the reasons I think the guitar skill is one of the most powerful in the game, at least in terms of making money. Now, one last jump back home. It's getting a bit late, and so we can tell Patrick to stop reading and send him off to bed. While he falls asleep, Chastity arrives back home and grabs a plate of pancakes from the fridge. And now that she's done eating, we will send her straight off to bed. We can save the shower and the positive moodlet for tomorrow. So with everyone in the household asleep, I think this is a good point to make a cut here. If you want to see more Sim Sunday, or if you have just missed 1 or 2 episodes, then check out the entire playlist on the top left. Or if you simply want to support the channel, then click on the small trophy icon on the top right corner of your screen and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!